In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to step into calls. Previously, we have learned how to use F9 to run and F8 to step over. So in today's lesson, we'll be doing F7 to step into a call, Control F9, execute till return, alternate F9, run to user code. All these three new commands are used in conjunction with stepping into calls and stepping out of calls. So let's begin. Open your 01 Mexican Crack Me with x64 DBG and on the top here, if you go to debug menu, you'll be able to see all the shortcut keys associated with the commands. For example, run is F9, step over is F8. So these two we have been using in the past lesson. Today we are going to step into, execute to return, and run to user code. And these are the corresponding shortcut keys. F7, step into, execute to return, Control F9, run to user code, alternate F9. So let's begin. So now we have started and we are at the starting address of the operating system. Let's run to our entry point by pressing F9 or clicking this button. And now we are at our entry point, and if we want to step over, we will use F8 or this button. So let's go ahead, click this button or F8. And now we come to our first call. Remember that in the past lesson, I told you that call is also a kind of jump, but it does not show. Behind the scenes, it actually does a jump. It goes to this address, 401 FE0, perform the instructions and that address, and comes back to the instruction after the call. That means every time you see a call, it will actually jump over there, perform whatever it needs to do, and come back to the next instruction after the call. Okay, let's take a look. If I will continue to press F8 now, it will go there and come back, but it doesn't show. I just press F8 and it have gone there and done the instructions and come back to the next instruction. Okay, I press F8 and now this will take a jump. F8, 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 keep on pressing F8. And now we are next call. So this time we want to step into the call. Instead of stepping over with F8, I'm going to press F7. This is our new command. If you forget the command shortcuts, you can always refer to debug menu. Step into is F7, as you can see. Or you can press this icon to step into. Personally, I prefer to use F7. So step into F7 now, press F7, and the moment you press F7, it is going to jump to this address, 4026A0. So press F7 now. Take a look. You are now jumped to this address, 4026A0. Now, when you are here, you can step over by pressing F8. Okay, this will jump. And then you see a red. Red means return. Return to where? Return to the place you jump from. That means before you jump, where were you? So when you run this return, it will go back there. So now notice, when you enter here, you enter at this address, 402680, and you executed all the code here until red. So every call will start from a starting location and then execute all the instructions in the call and return back to the place where it came from before the call. So if I were to press enter now, it will go back to the place before the call, to the place where I was. So let's press F8. And notice, if I scroll down, you can see we were here just now. We jumped to this location, executed it by pressing F7. Then, when we hit the return, we came back to the line after the call. So this is a characteristic of all calls. Whenever the call is finished, whenever you finish doing what you're supposed to do, you will always return using the RET instruction, RET. You will return to the place after the call. Okay, now we are back from the call. Let's press F8 to step over the rest of the instruction. Just keep pressing F8. Okay, so this jump will not be taken because this is not RET. Okay, jump taken. This is unconditional jump. You skip this call. Jump will not be taken. Here also says jump is not taken. Jump is not taken. Jump is not taken. Jump is taken. Jump is taken, so you jump. Okay, now we are at another call. So over here, if you press F8, you will jump over instead of go to the call. But it will still execute the call behind the scenes. So if you want to step into the call, what key should we press? That is correct. F7. So if you press F7, it will step into the call. If you are not interested to step into the call because you do not want to see the details of the call, you can always press F8. But remember, even pressing F8 does not mean you do not execute the call. The call is still being executed. But for now, we want to step into it to see what happens. So we press F7 to enter the call at this address, init term. Init term is an operating system memory address that will run a system code. So let's press F7 to go there. And we have come here at this location. And there is a jump. And we jump to the operating system code. Starting with 7. You can see these are all operating system code. So if you were to press F8 now, it will execute all this operating system code, but most of the time, usually, we are not interested in the operating system code because we are not cracking the operating system. Our interest is to crack the crackme file which starts at the base address 4000, not this address here. So most of the time, we are not interested in this, but if we press F8, it will continue to step through. And we are looking for the RET, which is over here, RET. So if we keep on pressing, eventually we hit the RET and go back to our call just before we jump here. So now it's going to hit the RET. Alright, now it will go back to the place just before we made the call over here. So we made the call over here. By pressing F7, we jump to this operating system code, and then when you hit the return, we came back to this part just after the call. Now we press F8. Now we are at another call. We are not going to jump into it this time, so press F8. Alright, now we are going to call another instruction at this register which stores this address. So whenever you see call EAX, always look to the register here to see what address it is going to jump to. So in this case, it's going to jump to 4016C0. So if you press F7, we are going to jump to this address. F7, and take a look. We are now here. And then we press F8 to step through. This jump will be taken. This jump will also be taken because it's red. See, it jumps over this red. That means it's not going to return yet. This time it's going to return. See this? So now if we press F8, if we return, to the location just before we call. Press F8 and we return. See that? Before the call we were here, and then we press F7 to go to this earlier address, and then when it hit the return, it came back to here. Right. Press F8 and now we are here, and this time if we press F7, we are going to jump to this address 401C70. So press F7 and here we are, 401C70. Press enter and it jump over this return. And if you keep on moving until it finds a return somewhere or goes back to up here to return. But let's say you don't want to keep on exploring this part of the code, but you want to straight away execute until you hit a return. What key do you press? Let's say you do not want to keep pressing F8, F8, F8. You can, there's a shortcut way to jump straight to the return. You can press this key. Execute to return. Or the shortcut key for this is Control F9. You can check it out here. Control F9. Execute to return. So execute to return will jump straight, will execute all the instructions until it hits the return. So let's try that now. Control F9 or this key here. Execute to return. Let's click on this. Control F9. There you go. So it has it has executed all the intervening codes and hit the return. So now it is ready to return to the place where it was before the call. So if you press F8 now, it will return to the place before the call. There you go. We were here just now. We pressed F7 to enter the call, and now we are back here. Let's try another one. Press F8. Now we are going to enter this system address. Press F7 and we are at the system code. And now we can keep on pressing F8 until we hit the return. Okay, we have not hit any return yet. So if we want to run to the return quickly without exploring it any further, we can always press which key? This one. Execute to return or Control F9. So let's hit that now, Control F9. And again, we straight away execute until the return. Now we are at the return, we are ready to return to the place where we were before we called. So we press F8 to return and take a look. We return back again. We were here just now, we F7 to enter it, and now we return here. Okay, let's try it further. F8, F8, F8. Another call. So now we are going to call, we are going to jump to this address 4026F0. So press F7 to step into it. And we are here, 4026F0. Let's press F8. And this is a fast return. See that? Only 2 instructions and we are returning. Press F8. And we are back. We are back to the place where we were. We were here just now and now we return here. And now there's another call. We are going to jump to this address 401F30. Press F7 and we go to 401F30. And there's only one instruction. Press F8 and then we are going to return again. So press F8 now and we return. And we return. We were here just now. We press F7, execute, and now we return to this location. Continue to press F8. This is jump is not taken. Okay, so I think you get the idea. Now another thing I want to show is another command called the run to user code. Let's try that. Let's reset this by restarting. Press F9 or click this to run to entry point. And press F8 to step over. Enter this. Alright, so press F8. Then if you want to run to return, click on this to run to return, execute to return, and then press F8 to return. We have done this before. Now press enter. If you want to enter, you press F7 to enter. To enter the call, press F8. If you want to return fast, you click this, execute to return, and you are the return. Press F8 to return. Step through it. Keep on pressing F8. Alright, now this is the one that I want to demonstrate. So now we are going to enter this system call. So let's press F7 to enter it. Now we are going to jump, press F8, and now we are at the operating system call, operating system memory address. So we are over here, we can press F8, and if you want to quickly execute to return, which key do we press? Yes, right, we can press this key, execute to return. So if you press this key now, it will execute all the code until it finds a return and stop there. Another alternative is, if you quickly want to go back to our user code, which is our crackme code, we can do another key. We can use this key here, run to user code. So run to user code, shortcut is alternate F9. So run to user code will execute everything until it hit the return, and then automatically go back to the user code, the place where we came from. So let's try that now. Alternate F9. Click on this. True enough, we are back to the user code. So the user code is the crackme memory address space. So remember that whenever we are in operating system code and we want to come back to the user code, we can always use run to user code. So it will execute all the operating system instruction and come back to our user code. So our user code is the crackme code. Alright, so let's try another example. Here it is again, another operating system instruction. Let's F7 to jump, to step into it. One more time, F8 to jump there, F8. And now we are in operating system code. So how do we go back to user code? That's right, we can use this button here, run to user code. So instead of pressing F8, F8, F8 and looking for return, we can quickly execute until we return back to user code. So just click on run to user code or alternate F9 and we are back in the user code. We just executed this call and now we are back in user code. So that's it for this lesson. The instructions that I want to show you are these three. F7 is how you step into a call. Instead of stepping over using F8, we can step into it using F7. And then when we are in the call, we can execute until we find the RET, which is by using Ctrl F9. So another way is, if we are in the operating system code, there is a shortcut to return back to user code by using alternate F9. So alternate F9 will execute all the operating system code and return back to the user code. So this is what we have covered this lesson. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.